Okay, call the meeting in order for Thursday, August 3rd, 25th, 2016. Roll call, please.
Herder,
Yes.
Jenneman,
Yes.
Pierce,
Here.
Wickman,
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Let the record show that all the members are present.
Okay, you've had a chance to look over the minutes. Is there any additions or corrections? If not, I'd ask for a motion.
I make a motion to approve the minutes, July 21st. Second.
Then moved and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carried. I'll read my statement before we open public hearings. The public hearings will be conducted pursuant to the board's rules and procedures as adopted May 26, 1988. We will first hear the report of the planning director on detailed information and observations regarding the request, if not done so in written form prior to the hearing. Next, we will take the testimony of the applicant and his or her witnesses. Upon completion of the applicant's testimony, I'll call upon members of the audience wishing to make a statement concerning the request. Persons in favor of the request shall be heard first, followed by those opposed to it. At any time during the presentation of testimony, the members of the board may interrupt to ask questions or to make comments on what has been said. Upon completion of all testimony, the applicant will be allowed to make a closing statement to the board. Upon completion of the applicant's closing statement, we will then hear the recommendation, if any, of the planning director. And upon completion of all the discussion, I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing on the request. After the public hearing has been closed, I will entertain a motion from the members of the board regarding the disposition of the application. Each speaker addressing the board shall step forward to the podium, state their name and address before proceeding with testimony or evidence. I would ask that you would spell your last name. This board shall not be bound by strict rules of evidence, but does reserve the right to exclude evidence or testimony that it may deem to be irrelevant, immaterial, incompetent, or unduly repetitious. As chairman, I will rule on all questions related to the admissibility of evidence, which may be overruled by a majority of the board. The board may grant continuances in case of good cause shown to any interested party who has entered his appearance. The board may at any time request a continuance of the hearing of the purpose of giving further notice, taking further evidence, gathering further information, touring the proposed site, or for such other reasons as the boards may find sufficient. In such case, we should state the specific reasons for the continuance and set a date, time, and place when the matter will be continued. All official action of this board, will be made at a public hearing by motion made, seconded, and a polling of the membership. If conditions are imposed, such conditions shall be included in the motion or amendment thereto. Our final decision will be prepared in writing and will be part of the public record of this board. Once this board has reached a decision on a case, that decision shall be final. Section 335.18 of the Code of Iowa states, any person or persons jointly or severely aggravated by any decision of the Board of Adjustments under the provisions of Chapter 335, or any taxpayer or any officer, department, board, or bureau of the county may present to a court of record a petition duly verified setting forth that such decision was illegal, in whole or in part, specifying the grounds of the illegality. Such petition shall be presented to the court within 30 days after the filing of the decision in the board office of the board. Upon hearing that, I would ask a motion to open public hearing on case CU 2016-06.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carried. Rollerscape. Okay, would you like to come to the podium and state your name and spell it and present your case?
Brett Wohlers, Wohlers, with Rollerscape, at 18450 250th Street. Filing a conditional permit to run my business. Our business runs Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, no weekends. I have 2 employees. Our trucks are all inside, with the exception of a couple of trailers maybe sitting outside. My employees are seasonal, so there's really no winter work. I guess that's really it.
Any questions?
Yeah, hey Matt, did you provide them your recommendation?
To the applicant?
Yeah, I do not. Okay.
So where do you house your chemicals and that kind of thing?
We don't have any chemicals.
You don't do chemicals?
No.
So is it primarily like retaining wall work, that kind of
Yeah,
stuff?
retaining walls and patios is boxes really, and then we just have some trucks and skid loaders, and everything sits inside. We have no materials that sit on site or anything like that. Everything is delivered to the job.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Anyone else want to speak in favor of this? Anyone want to speak opposed to this? Matt, do you have any information for us?
The recommendation of the planning department is to approve the request for the rural enterprise business subject to the following conditions. The area dedicated to the rural enterprise businesses shall be limited to 1,000 square feet in the subject building. Any outside storage of materials shall be behind a site obscuring fence. Based on the following findings of fact, the property is located in a class R1 district. The zoning ordinance adopted in conjunction with the land use plan stipulates that the rural enterprise business is a permitted conditional use in the R1 district. The subject property is located in an area which is a mixture of residential and agricultural. The business is a landscaping business, and the equipment to be utilized in this service-related business are atypical of the type of equipment that can be routinely seen on an acreage or a agricultural operation. The area dedicated to the business is 1,000 square feet, and most equipment will be stored inside the building. There will be minimum outside storage with this business. The business will consist of 2 employees, the owner, and 1 other person. No on-street parking is permitted with this land use, nor is there any proposed by the applicant. The rural enterprise business has 2 outside employees who will travel to the property in the morning, then leave with the business equipment for the day and return at the end of the day. The existing road system is adequate to accommodate the additional 2 to 4 vehicles being added to the traffic count. The owner of the property resides at this location and is the owner-operator of the business. No hazardous materials or byproducts will result from this rural enterprise business.
Yeah, I've got a question for him out on number 4. It says, he talked about 2 employees, and here we're talking about an owner and 1 employee.
I caught that when I was reading it. Please.
Would you come back up, please?
Sure.
I believe it's him, it's you, your brother, and then 2
employees, right?
2 employees.
So it'll be 2, so this
Yes.
is, this needs to be changed.
Noted.
Huh?
Got it.
Okay, so you'd have 2 employees,
Yes,
and this read 1, you and 1 employee, so it'd be 2 employees. You and,
right.
okay, thank you. Okay, I'd ask for a motion to close public hearing. So moved.
Second.
Then moved and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carried. Discussion.
Matt, on this, on your general information page, it has trailer parking behind the building. Is that the intent, to keep trailers behind the building?
Yes. In the area designated there.
Okay. And through his testimony, he said there won't be any materials on the site, so do we need a site obscuring fence?
That's part of the rural enterprise business, that you can't have anything outside that can be seen like that, so you do have to have a fence.
Okay.
Okay. Any discussion? If not, I'd entertain a motion one way or the other.
I'll make a motion to approve based on staff's recommendation and findings of fact with the change in the employee information.
Second.
Been moved and second. Roll call vote, please.
Herder,
Yes.
General,
Yes.
Pierce,
Yes.
Wickman,
Sure.
White.
Yes. It has been granted. Okay. Okay, I entertain a motion to open the public hearing on case CU 2016-07, Kelly and Melissa Clark.
Move.
Second.
Been moved and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carried. Kelly and Melissa, or whoever.
Excuse me, my name is Kelly Clark, C-L-A-R-K. We're at 19273 Hawthorne Avenue, here in Council Bluffs. The purpose of this is to request the board's approval to perform a boat repair shop at our home residence. The business is a sole proprietor, single employee business that we performing routine maintenance, and general repair on trailerable boats. This will not be any type of a retail sales location. Generally, I'll be the one picking up and delivering customer boats back to them upon the completion of a repair. I do this to help kind of control logistics at our house as well as just traffic in general in our neighborhood. However, there will be times when customers will drop something off and be picking something up. I only really want to be working on 1 or 2 boats a day, so traffic would be at a minimum. The road is on a solid surface road, so dust will not be a factor. The boats are on single or tandem axle trailers weighing in 2,000 to 6,000 pounds, usually a little lighter weight than a Super Duty pickup. So road damage shouldn't be a problem as well. We're currently working on plans to erect a new building behind our current garage. This is where most all the work will be performed. The new building will house customer boats when they're to be worked on, as well as personal belongings that could be potentially an eyesore or considered a nuisance. The building will be insulated to reduce or eliminate any potential noise issues. We'll have bulk containers within the building to contain products to be considered hazardous, such as waste oils or other engine fluids. Once the containers become near full, we'll have a company come in and pump those tanks or whatnot and remove it. Because this is a repair facility only, ran and operated solely by myself, the need for customer or employee restrooms and parking won't be an issue as well. Our goal is to create a profitable, growing business for our family, all trying to be respected and considerate neighbors. Our neighbors' opinions of us and our property are very important to us. We want to maintain a clean and beautiful property for our neighbors to be proud of. We spoke with the immediate neighbors around us and just making sure, see if they had any questions or whatnot. We knew that there was going to be a radius. I just didn't know who all was going to fall within a radius, so we can at least try to eliminate some questions and let know kind of where we're going and what the direction we have. So people that we have talked to, we seem to have their support on, but we would appreciate your consideration.
Is this a full-time business, or is this a moonlighting business, or is this?
It's one moving to the other. It's a moonlighting business that really did start from me being in that industry. My reputation has stayed with me and continued to grow, and we've gotten to a point where we probably are a nuisance, to be honest with you, the way we're set up right now. I have recently quit my otherwise full-time job to be able to concentrate on this, to help control kind of the flow that has been happening. Obviously during the summer we get pretty busy, and trying to do it with a 4-year-old and an 8-year-old, find myself kind of getting buried from time to time. And but yeah, we are moving to a full-time. That's actually what started this. Is I went to get my building permit, and the conditional use came up. So we want to, not just play by the rules, but we want to be considerate to those around us as well.
So if you get this, then is this a nighttime business, or is this going to be an 8 to 5?
8 to 5, 8 to 6. Yep, that's the idea. I'm a tinkerer, so I'm probably up late anyway. But the idea is to have the building up that we'll be able to control all of it within the building.
Do you work mostly on them inside the building?
I'm sorry.
Will you be working mostly on them inside the building?
That's the goal. Yes, it hasn't been so much the case up to this point, but moving forward, that is definitely what we want to do. Yes.
So what do you have to run the motors in? I mean, is it a tank or a?
Be water. I mean, just external water on the outside of the drives.
So is it your intent to have this conditional use permit, if it were to be granted, contingent on that new building being erected?
I'm sorry, say that again to me.
Is it your goal, is it your plan to build that new building, and that's where this operation will take
Correct,
place?
yes.
It's not gonna take place until the building's built?
Unfortunately, it's been taking place, and this is we're at a point of growth where we need to move on from what I'm currently doing.
Okay, how many boats do you think you'd have there at a time in a small 20?
There have in the current situation we've been in with me having another full-time job, there have been times there might have been 8 to 10 at a time, but that's only like in a a day or two type of rotation. Specifically like during winterizations when you don't have them very long, but they'll get dropped off, or you're rolling through them real fast. At a point now where I have 10 hours a day to dedicate to it, I wouldn't see any more than 3 or 4.
And all the boats will be inside the building?
That's what I want. I have a boat of my own, so I don't know if that plays a part of the game or not, but
Would it be in the building, or is it gonna be outside?
mine would probably be outside if I'm actually currently working on something else, but if I can have it inside, I'd prefer it to be inside.
How big is it? How long is it?
27 foot.
27. How close to your nearest neighbor?
— 200 feet.
Just one, I see one here, it's in the picture. Is that about,
The one in the picture is probably as close as any of them are, yeah. We're on acre-sized lots, acre or bigger for the most part, so.
Okay. Any other questions?
The noise, as far as like noise issues go, like I said, I've talked to my direct neighbors to figure where the nucleus and those directly around me. There's a concern of noise. It's always been a concern of mine if I'm annoying neighbors or whatnot. The neighbors directly surrounding me, I've talked to numerous times about making sure they're not hearing me, especially if I was up at night or whatever. And the direct neighbors anyway have not had any issues with noise, so.
I would think that'd be the number one thing would be.
I agree. But to this point, that hasn't been an issue at all.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Anyone else want to speak in favor? Anyone want to speak opposed?
Yeah.
Come up to the podium and give us your name and spell it for us. Don't be bashful.
Well, I'm Larry Neff, N-E-F-F. I live at 19328 Hawthorne Avenue. And I haven't complained about this boat business. I didn't know it was going to be a permanent boat business. But I don't think it's attractive for a residential area. I know I live in the county and I'm kind of proud of that, but there's use of people bringing boats, trying to turn around in the neighbors' driveways. And that gets to be a problem whenever you've got a 4-door pickup trying to push a 30-foot boat or more. I don't think that's quite right. I have heard noise, but I worked in the auto industry, and I know you can't work on boats without noise. Can't work on a lawnmower without noise. Whenever you put it inside of a building, I don't know what that'll be like. But I just want to say that I don't think the location is proper for residential. One problem is coming up the street there at the crest of a hill, and whenever a boat is in the right-hand lane and you have to pass that boat, you can't see what's coming on. Occasionally you get people that drive too fast, and if you would happen to pull out as they're coming over that hill, it could be a big deal.
The reason you would pass, are they parked on the road, you mean, is that?
Well, quite often, it takes a while to get a boat backed in. See, the only way you could really do it properly is to go Jennings, around the small horseshoe we call it, head back to Railroad Highway, and then back the boat in alongside the house there. And you're using both lanes of the street then. So whoever is on the street is going to have to wait. So that's about my complaint.
Okay, thank you.
where do you live from him?
Just 2 doors away.
North of him?
If you want to say, yeah, it's northwest. Yeah. We're at an angle. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else want to speak opposed?
I'm Kathy Alexander, Alexander, 19223 Hawthorne Avenue. I am, there's one house between us and them, so 2 down, east. First off, I would take a big objection to the concept that there is no noise. There is a lot of noise. I'm home during the day, and there is a lot of noise when he is running those engines. And I doubt that when he's in a building that it will be significantly less. So my first complaint is that I'm in a residential neighborhood and I want it to stay residential. I expect to go out on my porch and enjoy my porch. I don't want to be hearing engines roaring. I want to hear nature. And I'm not hearing nature, I'm hearing engines roaring. And I have to go in and close up because I can't enjoy my porch. And I don't want that to become permanent. I want that to go away. So my first problem is I want the noise to stop, not be permanent. My second issue is that I'm concerned about the possible issue of toxins in the air being released as he's working on engines. I have a child who has episodic ataxia type 2 and asthma, and her conditions are very, very fragile. She can wake up paralyzed. And our windows are not very far from their house with just the 1 yard between them. And so if he's got, which right now he has 10 boats in front of his yard. If he's working and there's only 1 yard between us and him, if we have our windows open, whatever is in the air is coming straight into our house. And even if our house is closed, houses are not impenetrable. So houses or boats have fiberglass, epoxy, all sorts of things that you use to repair them, which are not things that you normally run across in a residential neighborhood. And they're all toxins, and they're not things I want my child exposed to. And that would be if she were healthy, and she's not. So, no, I don't want my child exposed to them. And my yard is right there. So, no, I don't want the noise. No, I don't want the exposure to toxins. I want to go outside and enjoy my yard. I want my kid not to have to experience that. I don't want any of this occurring. I want quiet, residential, safety. I also don't like the concept, he says he brings most of the boats in himself. Well, that means some of the boats are being brought in by the people that own them. Well, that means that we have people who don't live in our neighborhood bringing in boats from Omaha or wherever. That's traffic coming into our neighborhood that doesn't belong there, that's strangers. And who wants the extra danger of people coming in, creating a business neighborhood when we're supposed to be residential? Because that's traffic and people who aren't looking out for our kids' safety and who aren't looking out for our homes. They're there for their boats, and maybe they're saying, hey, that looks like a home that we can break into. And we don't want that either. So we want our neighborhood to be a neighborhood where we can have our kids out playing and our dogs out in their yards, and we want not to be worried about the safety of their health or the quiet or who's there. It's residential, and we'd like it to stay residential.
How many people live in this area?
In our neighborhood?
Yeah.
Well, we all live here, but we have, it's an actual neighborhood, so,
Well, I just wondered, I mean, sure, there's people that have guests come in. Do you ever have guests come to your house?
yeah.
Then you're bringing people in the neighborhood that other people don't know.
Well, but it's not a business.
No.
It's not,
No, I understand that, but I'm just saying that's,
I
Yeah.
understand,
You know,
yes, it's
you can't
not a
control
case of,
when you
you
live-
can't control anything,
Right.
but it's totally different when it's a business versus, there's a shopping center. The people who are coming to a shopping center are not your friends and neighbors. You tend
No, I
to
understand
bring, if you're bringing in your friends, you're probably pretty sure they're not gonna rob your neighbor. But if you're bringing in somebody to a shopping center, do you have any idea what their character's like?
Okay, what else?
I'm Donna Knight, Knight. I live at 1827 Jennings Avenue, and we've been in the neighborhood since the middle of the 70s. Our house sits at the top of the hill on Jennings. We used to have a beautiful view down the valley. We now look at boats pretty much year-round. So when you say you're going to have 1 to 2 boats that you're working on, I feel more that this has become a storage place. And this is where the people bring their boats to leave through the winter for cheaper pay. Because the front yard can have, at times, maybe you've seen 10 boats specked around in the front yard, so when you drive by, that's what you see. And if these were cars parked in someone's yard like this year-round, it probably would not be accepted. I'm very glad that it's finally being brought up, because I don't think any of the neighbors have appreciated it, but we've dealt with it. And to know that we have to continue to deal with it, we would like to all now speak up and say we are opposed against it. We're also in a waterway that runs down through that thing. And when we had the rain a few years ago, there was quite the flood down in there. So when you say you're going to put in another shed, his back of his land, he goes down a driveway, which is why they say it's hard to get down. And then there's like, I think it was a year or so ago, you built up, put in some dirt, made a landing, expanded the driveway out. Well, where's his shed actually going to go? Because that's a pretty steep thing down, and then he goes straight down. So trying to put a shed in there, you wonder where it's going to set. And we would just as soon as it not be in our neighborhood, and we are worried what it will do to our property values. Thank you.
Anyone else want to speak opposed?
Hi, my name is Elaine Wendell. It's Wendl. I live at 19380 Hawthorne Avenue. I'm kind of confused because I live 2 houses up from Larry. I don't know my directions very well. So I don't hear any noise, anything. But I have to say, I agree with the previous people who have been saying things. I have people who do come to my house and ask what's going on with all the boats. One thing no one has mentioned is there's little kids playing in the neighborhood. There are children now on bikes. We have younger families moving in, which is a plus, I think, for our neighborhood. And they're riding bikes and things. I know that there's times when I come up and down the street, and I'm not home during the day. I generally work, and I'm outside on the weekends. And I can't say I hear any noise or anything like that. But I do agree that I'm opposed. It is residential. I've been out there since 80. Well, my parents lived there, and I've been there since the 80s. That's why I bought the property from them. I love the quiet country neighborhood, and I want the residential area to stay a residential area, and I don't want a business in there. And I think they're probably very nice people, and they've got nice children, and I think I got to know them when they moved in because their dog came up, Memphis came up the street all the time to visit my dogs. But I just believe where I live, I like it as a residential neighborhood, and I don't want all the boats going up and down. And I agree, there's been a lot of boats. I mean, I think he said 9 or 10. I think one time I counted more than that. So, I mean, that's kind of the comments that I, pretty much made on when I heard that they were gonna have, this, meeting those are basically my comments.
Anyone else want to speak opposed?
Hello, my name is Vicki Rule, R-U-L-E. I live at 1164 Jennings Avenue. And if you're not familiar with the area out there, Jennings runs up this side and up this side. Hawthorne runs right through us. So it affects both neighborhoods on each side of Jennings. And my biggest concern is property value. Well, first of all, I agree with Elaine. This is a residential area. It's a country feel, but yet you're close to the city. That's why a lot of us live there. I've been there since 1986, so my preference is that a business not come in there. I don't want my property value to be messed with, and that's how it will probably affect me most. But if I run up Hawthorne to come home, and sometimes I do go through that area, and I know Elaine and her son, and so if there's anybody out there on the weekends and things like that, if you're going to garage sales, anything like that, and you use that road, it has been an eyesore. I have seen that. I didn't know what was going on being on the other side, so I didn't realize he was temporarily kind of running a business already. But my other concern would be, we all have wells out there. You're doing oil. I'm not familiar with boats, but I'm sure you guys are more so, and with gas, oil, different things like that. It doesn't sound like he's set up right now for it to be a true business. I'm wondering what's going on with that and going into the land, the water. I mean, I don't know if that's going to be problematic. So that would be my second concern. So, thank you.
Anyone else?
Jim Peterson, I live at 129 Midland Drive, Council Bluffs, Iowa. I'm representing Louetta H. Peterson at 19244 Hawthorne Avenue. She has dementia. I'm her guardian and co-conservator. The other co-conservator is Paula Danker. I grew up out there, just had to move my mom from there, from her home. I took care of her for over a year there with the dementia until it got so bad she had to go to a home. The noise was horrible. I'd get to sleep, the motors would start running. When you're taking care of a dementia patient, you want to get as much rest as you can because they're up all night long. She'd lay down, the engines would start. The noise is a problem. Also, right now, today, there's motors out there exposed with the covers off of them. So if it rains tonight, where's that oil and gas going to go? It's going to go in the ground. It's all water, all wells. You know, how long has that been going on? I mean, the neighborhood's been pretty good to Kelly, but it's time to stop. It is residential, and it's going to deter to the value of the property. The property value is going to go down. What's the next business that's going to go in if he's allowed to put his in there? Where will it stop? It won't. I don't have any of you driven by. Well, but the big thing is that the pollution that's going on now needs to stop today, and even if he did build a building, and I worked in industry for all my life as an electrical engineer for almost 30 years, I've seen a lot of chemical spills, and with the best environments, they happen, they're uncontrollable, you can dam them the best you can, but it still seeps away, you're never gonna stop that. So it is a detriment to all of us in the neighborhood for the property value, and everybody likes the neighborhood. Kelly's a good guy. There's no doubt they're good neighbors, but that business doesn't belong there, It needs to be a residential place. Thank you.
Can I ask you how close you are to there?
house
right across the street,
across?
2 doors down.
Okay.
That do it?
Yep.
This guy?
Anyone else want to speak opposed? No one else? It's your chance. Okay, would you like to answer questions or rebuttal or a closing statement? You have an opportunity to do a closing statement. Come up to the podium, please.
Sure. Yeah. First of all you guys, I really appreciate you guys actually coming out today, regardless of, being for or against it. The fact that you care about the neighborhood, care about each other, it means something to me. And to be honest with you, I can't really disagree with really any one of you on certain things. Jim's point about a motor sitting out, there is one sitting out right now. Yes, it is something that I am currently working on, but that's not something that's regular as far as that particular issue goes. That's not a common thing to have that there. Are there boats out there right now? There are a lot of boats out there right now. That's what we're trying to get through. We're at a point that I completely feel for you, and that's why I'm wanting to move forward to a point where we don't have another full-time job anymore. Now I can concentrate on what's happening there. I don't store boats, believe it or not. I don't have room to store boats. I have my own. And if I have a long-term project, but it's not something that's a regular issue, I want to be able to get stuff in, get it out, and get it gone. We want to maintain our yard. We've tried to continue to do property enhancements as much as they may not be able to be seen yet. Our goal for her and I for sure is to get that way with you guys. I don't like what I see any more than you guys do, and that's the honest to God truth. I don't want that. I know you guys are probably frustrated and tired with it. I don't want that, so we're going to try to if we just go full-time, I don't have something else to keep my time, and I can roll them in and out, and I can have a building to do it within. I don't want to be a noise factor. Parking on the street, nothing ever sits on the street overnight. Nothing of mine sits on the street, or my customers sit on the street overnight. If it's on the street, realistically, it's only on the street for an hour at most, 2 hours. I mean, has there been something there longer than that? I'm sure there has. I wouldn't argue that, but that's not I don't park on the street. We don't use that as a regular basis. Maybe I'm immune to it, but I don't really feel like there's a huge traffic issue where we're really holding up traffic up and down our road. The children playing, two of which are mine. They play directly with the kids across the street. Pretty well aware of what's going on. I don't believe that any of my customers are fast on our road. I don't advertise at all. So if that gives you an idea, any of the people that I deal with are strictly word of mouth. It's people that have been recommended to me. A lot of my clientele actually is a higher end clientele. So as far as the safety of your houses or of your belongings, I have the most to lose. I mean, realistically, when you look in what I have for tooling, so that I appreciate that concern. I just don't believe it is a concern.
Is there any way, because the noise factor to me would be an issue.
Agreed.
Tell them about all the surrounding it.
You want to come up?
Oh, sure. Can I?
Sure.
Do I need to say my name?
Yeah, please.
Okay. I'm Melissa Clark, CLARK. And we honestly, since he first started, we're concerned about the noise. So we asked the people the two people right behind us and the people above us, and the people next to us. And they all said it wasn't a factor at all. And the other one wasn't a factor at all. So I don't know if it's the way the hills are, if that's why it's going to people, but we honestly didn't realize that was an issue because they have told us. And they offered to write letters for this, and had we known
Had we known the
what it was,
opposition,
we
it
would have
probably
had
would have
them
been a little
come.
different.
So, we honestly didn't know it was a noise.
Certainly, and no one here is a direct neighbor, correct? I'm making sure that if my house is in the middle, you're not across the street, catty corner from me, Jim would be the closest.
We're one of them. No.
You guys are further up the road though, right? Just a little bit? In either case, where,
Okay, we need this way.
none of our direct neighbors, they're right, I have not talked to a lot of these folks, and, because they're not right around me. But I have tried to be very adamant about doing that with my direct neighbors, so I can see, just kind of do polls with them, hey, are we keeping you up, are you hearing noise, are we bothering you in any way? Obviously something has taken place that I need to be cognizant of. Some of that I'm sure has happened, more in the evenings, because like I said, as of just recently, I've had an 8 to 5 job. So the noise during the day, not sure where it's coming from, but it really hasn't been too much for me having a full-time job. Any type of toxics as far as that goes, are no different. Most of the stuff I do is stern drive stuff, so it's not too strong. I do occasionally do some outboard stuff, but most of the stuff I do is all stern drive. So it's no different than running your pickup or your car. Their water systems on them are freshwater systems, so there's no toxic runoff on that. Otherwise, we'd obviously have problems with the lakes. As far as chemical spills, they're all contained. I really don't have that issue.
So how soon is the shed gonna be built?
If I have it my way, it'd be up by the end of September. I don't know if that's,
So is the conditional use for the business contingent on the building being built? I mean, is one dependent on the other?
I have an oversized garage right now, so I am able to do stuff within my garage or on the drive, which is not what I want, but that is what has been happening. So I didn't even know that it was this contingent use permit. I came in to actually get my building permit. And the question came up, if we're going to performing a business, well, yeah, we are. So we were trying to get the building permit going so that we could actually get this moving now and get this problem
So
solved.
there is the possibility the building will be put up in a reasonable time, right?
Truly, yes, that's
Okay.
my goal. If my builder and I are on the same
Okay.
page, then that's what I would like, yes.
Are we zoned for businesses out there, or do we need to be zoned for businesses?
It's a conditional use
It's
that's
conditional
allowed.
use for a rural enterprise business. In your zoning district, R2 zoning district, it allows for rural enterprise businesses as a conditional use, which is what we're here for tonight.
Do you know when your customer's bringing a boat in, or, I mean, you don't have like a half dozen bringing in at one time, or you try to limit to a couple at a time?
I try to, yes, and they're absolutely right. I'm not objecting to anything that they said as far as having multiples there at a time. Some of that might be a matter of waiting on parts that, or they're on back order or just having trouble getting. If there's an issue there, then I'll try to make a resolution to that. If it's a matter that I have to wait on parts, then they'll have to go back to the customer's house until I can get them. If it's a
But
2 or
they
3.
don't leave. I don't know if it's wrong.
No.
And
Can't talk.
I'm not sure which one she's talking about. I don't store boats. I have boats. I do, personally, that are mine. And if those are the ones we're talking about, then I can see that.
Do you have more than one?
We have,
Yes. The whole purpose of the whole business in the first place was just to have a tax write-off. That's what I used to do. And so we wanted to just kind of rotate 1 or 2 of ours. Again, reputation has continued to build. That's what I was doing previously anyway.
how many boats
Not
can
recently.
be stored in your new building?
I'm not gonna store any but
Well,
my own.
placed, those ones that are waiting for parts or whatever out in your yard, I assume if they're just sitting there, you might wanna put them in your storage area, no?
I would like to. That's the idea.
So
That
how
is
many
the-
would
that is
fit?
the goal.
In there,
Probably 4.
and you have 10, so there'd still be 6 sitting out?
That's the way it currently is. That's not the way I want it to be moving forward. Because I don't like it for myself. I don't like it for myself. I don't like it for my neighbors.
It'll be full
But
time.
going back to the noise factor, I know a motor when you start up on a boat is a lot different when it's not in the water.
Mhm.
Is there any way of making it in this new shed, instead of having the thing on the side of the motor where you could actually drop that motor into a tank of water? Would that quiet it down considerably?
Could, but not necessarily. Depends on the application, to be honest with you. Being in a building just so that it can't, echo out throughout the holler per se would be certainly the best.
Yeah.
the
I
best
mean,
thing.
inside that building, would there be a tank that you could put? I don't know, I mean.
I could try to create that.
I mean, something on wheels where you could actually roll
A test
a
tank.
tank over and drop your motor in, and that would quiet it down considerably.
Mhm.
Compared to the, I don't know what you call it, the little ear
Earmuffs.
flaps that go on there.
Sure. I mean, I could certainly look into that to see what we could do.
The building will be insulated?
Yes, yes.
What about the turnaround, the space for large boats to come in into your property? Is there enough space for them to get in without obstructing traffic? Or is that, sounds like
Some of this, to be honest with you, is probably a little bit news to me. That I'm not unaware of my own situation, but I didn't realize that we were having turnaround issues with people. But certainly, again, issues to be resolved. I don't want that to be an issue, so.
You say your boat's 27 feet long. Is that pretty much the longest one you'll have most of the time?
I'd say mine's on the big side, yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna say there's never gonna be something bigger than that, but it's not in the norm, no.
Do you have trouble getting it in and out of your driveway?
I don't. I will occasionally, probably not here going forward, pull into my neighbor's driveway, the neighbor that's not here, the neighbor also that doesn't have a problem with us, I'll go down and spin around with mine. But most of the time, I'll just come home and back it straight down the driveway.
Would there be a possibility of making it a spot where you could pull into your driveway and where you wouldn't have to come off the road?
Part of what we're gonna do, I think, is I've also got some driveway issues that are gonna need resolved in maintenance in general anyway, so we're probably gonna widen the driveway a little bit, which will help with that.
You're doing all of this on a 1.1 acre parcel.
Unfortunately, yes.
How many boats that are on the property right now are for storage?
None.
You have 10 or so boats on there now?
One of them needs to go away. We have three personally that are ours. One needs to just plain go away, and that's in the process of this whole changeover that we're doing anyway with employment and all that. One of them is ours, and that we use our normal everyday boat, and one of them we bought as an investment.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Do we need to enter into is that Blaine Shoney letter?
We did get the one letter dropped off at our office that is signed by Blaine Schoening, 1977 Jennings Avenue. The letter states, in regards to the Clark's application for conditional use permit for a rural enterprise business, I have lived at 1977 Jennings Avenue for 31 plus years. The neighborhood has been very quiet and would like to stay that way. When we sit out on our deck, we enjoy the quiet of the neighborhood, which is why we moved out there and continue to stay there. When the boats are running, it's very annoying. Therefore, I would not like this to pass. I do not believe an owner of their property should be able to do as they please without disturbing the neighbors. If this does pass, I would like to see certain hours of operation. Thank you, sincerely, Blaine Schoening.
Okay.
Is everybody pretty much on this sheet right here looking at it? Yeah, if you look at that, we still in public hearing, Tim?
Yes, we're still public. Matt, do you have a?
So our staff recommendations, they're always subject to change
Sure.
after they talk. There's 3 different items that came up that I would prefer to have more time to look into and research as far as conditions wise, what should be listed down on those before I give an official recommendation to the board from what is stated in my report. There's the parking for storage, there's the accessing the property, and the noise issue.
which is only fair because some things have come up tonight, too.
So we schedule it.
Do we need a site visit?
I would recommend.
I would think so too.
recommend.
Site visit?
We need to close public hearing. Okay, make a motion to close public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Second, move to second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carried. Discussion.
That second page behind the map where it shows the property, you can really see how dense that neighborhood is.
It is
Very dense.
But they also have other things out there. They have, some people have horses, some people have, at least there used to be pigs out there. I mean, there's all kinds of things. Isn't there still out there, horses out there?
You know, it's been a while since I've been through, but I believe so.
Yeah.
So,
So it means a kind of a mixed area.
Jeanette, are you looking at a possible site visit? I think that
I am.
make me.
I am. I would like to.
Better.
Site visit.
Okay, cool.
Do you want a motion?
Okay,
What do we have? Do we have anything next month, man?
Not as of yet, no.
Do you want a
for if you can't hear what we're talking about, is that it's up to our discretion to have a site visit, and that's what we would like to do. Me personally, I wanna hear the motors run, and, you know, we wanna be aware of the area that you're in. So we don't wanna say yes or no tonight, because we wanna go and look at it. So with that being said, I'd ask for a motion.
I will make a motion to postpone the decision until after the site visit
Okay,
on
What our meeting date?
September,
Or,
what date?
Matt? 22nd.
22nd?
22nd.
September 22nd?
Unless they're,
You want-
what day is that? Is our holiday or something?
It says that's when autumn begins, so we'll
Okay.
probably
That
better.
is-
You don't get that off, man.
That's better than winter. Okay, so our motion is a site visit on September 22nd.
Second. I will second it.
Moved and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carried. You had a question, sir?
Yes, Jim Peterson again. Is there any way to do soil samples after all the oil and gas that's gone into the ground since the beginning of this business?
Matt, would that be, I mean, I don't know the answer to that.
No,
I don't.
no, we're not.
So we don't care about chemicals?
No, that's not true, Mr. Peterson. We would.
Yeah.
However,
That's not our job.
we are here to enact policies that were written by the Board of Supervisors. So that's our role, not to.
When Wallerscape went up there, you asked the very first question, were there chemicals involved?
Yes.
So you didn't ask him if there was chemicals involved. Is there a difference?
Well, I guess the question, why you didn't ask if there's chemicals involved on a engine repair business, I mean, there are chemicals involved. And so we know that there's engine oil, we know that there's gasoline involved.
Yeah, I'm missing the point here, why we don't wanna find out if the water's contaminated from this.
You could sample yours. I mean.
The county does offer free water testing once a year from your well. If you would like to set an appointment to have a health inspector come out and draw a sample from your well.
Okay,
That would be a legitimate.
no, yeah, that explains it, that helps.
Yeah.
Because everybody down the valley from them, I would suggest that they do that.
That would
The
be,
Department of Health for the state gives us a grant program
Cool.
that allows us to come out
Yeah, I
to
didn't
rural
know it
residents'
worked.
houses once a year. And, I mean, it's nice, it's about a $75 value that you're receiving. We draw a sample, we mail it in for you, the test comes back, and we can either email and or mail you out the results. And
Huh?
we discuss the results with you, nitrates, bacteria, total chloroform.
And when does that happen, you said? Is it when timeframe?
That is year round that we do that.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, and how do we find that?
No, you contact county planning department,
County
yeah, 328-5792, and set an appointment. We do them Monday through Wednesdays, and the inspector comes directly out to your house, and all you have to do is be there.
just one more comment before we move on. If you're gonna do things like that, you need to do it before the meeting, because when we come back next meeting, there will be no more testimony, there will be no more conversation. So it's not like we don't wanna listen to you, we appreciate you coming, we appreciate yours, but it will be a yes or no vote, and we'll move on. So, if you wanna do that sort of stuff, then get it to Matt or Pam and ahead of time, so he has that, they have that information. Cause we won't be rehashing this again, okay? Appreciate you all coming. Okay, I'd ask for motion to open public hearing on case ZB 2016-03.
So moved. Second.
Move to second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same, motion carried. Elizabeth High Tech, is that correct? High Tech, oh yeah. There you guys. Okay.
We're back here.
Have you ever cleared a stadium like that before?
Yeah, I
I mean, I don't know.
I feel a little bit more relieved now.
You're just glad there's.
Hytrek, HYTREK.
Elizabeth Hytrek, HYTREK, 20296 Concord Loop. We own 4 acres on Concord Loop.
We need to move the conversations out of the hall, please.
Could we go out?
Sorry that it's been.
We apologize.
That's okay.
Hang on a second.
At least we're not talking about you.
Yeah, we're good.
That was really nice.
Huh? What?
At least we're not talking about her, that was.
Okay.
Okay.
We need to restate names, are we good?
No, you're good,
Okay.
but we should have it.
We own 4 acres on Concord Loop, which, our property kind of backs up to the Risen Sun area over there off the highway. We built a home in 2000 and moved in November of 2014. And we had always had a plan for an outbuilding next to our home. That's why we wanted to move to the country and, have a big area for our kids to grow up. We are quickly growing out of our garage. We have a lot of things that we would like to store in an outbuilding. I got my dream home, so he needs his man space. Anyway, so we started looking at different, people that we were going to go through. We stumbled upon that. I don't remember if we are R3 or R2, but the one that we are zoned in has a maximum building height of 16 feet. And when we were trying to figure this all out, we'd like to do a 36 by 54 building, and we also would like a 12-foot garage door. Well, when we were working with, it's Lester Buildings out of Trainer, Iowa, when we were working with him, we were figuring out that with the roof pitch and the size of the building that we wanted, it wasn't going to visually look right. The roof was going to be way too flat. So I think it was about between 19 and 20 feet tall, so roughly 3 more feet in height is what we're looking for the building. So that's why we applied for variance.
And you need the 12-foot door for just.
Right now,
whatever.
we don't actually need one, but in the future, we're just trying to think long-term. We may potentially get a motorhome at some point in time. And we're just trying to do some research and looking at different things. I mean, obviously, once it's up, and we're not going to change it later. So for potential height for that size door, that was one big factor, was a potential motorhome sometimes, so we can store it inside and have our property look nice. So that was one big thing. I mean, other things that doesn't need a 12-foot door, but his tractor, tiller, just storage for all that kind of stuff on our property.
You have a reason for us.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? No. Okay, thank you. I'm going to believe me. Anyone else want to speak in favor?
Just to say the ideal wife.
Anyone want to speak opposed? Come on. Okay, Matt, do you have a recommendation?
The recommendation of the planning department is to approve the application based on the following findings of fact. The property is not in a platted subdivision. The applicant's lot size is 3.94 acres, which is double the largest minimum lot size requirement in the R3 zoning district. The aforementioned facts reduce the potential of visual and aesthetic impacts on the line of sight for which the height restriction was adopted.
Okay,
I'll move.
close the public hearing.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Wood, second. Moved in second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carried. Discussion.
Matt, I've got a question for you now. It's certainly, I don't get this, but I don't want to put you on the hot seat. The maximum height of buildings and structures in a class 3 shall be 35 feet. And an accessory building should not exceed the height of 16 feet. Why don't we just call this a regular building? I mean, I don't get it.
That's for so for your principal structure.
Is that what the building is
Yeah.
calling? Okay.
So
That makes a little more sense.
the principal structure on the lot cannot be higher than 35 feet, 2.5 stories.
Okay.
And then when you drop down to the accessory building like this, then that is where
So it's an accessory
it's an
building,
accessory building, not
not their main living.
Okay.
Okay, so
Thanks
we
a
can,
lot.
we can justify this without setting precedence basically because of the size of the building
And we have done these in the
and
past.
the lot.
Yeah. We're not setting any precedents.
Pardon?
It's not
No.
setting any precedents or anything. They've been granted in the past in this area.
Okay, that was my only concern. Kind of like sign heights on the interstate or something.
Sign heights on the, yep.
Okay, did we have a motion?
No.
Okay,
Close public hearing.
we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've done that already.
I'll make the motion that we approve or concur with it. Based on
Okay.
the findings.
Been moved, is there a second? Second. Been moved and seconded, roll call vote, please.
Wickman,
Sure.
White,
Yes.
Her,
Yes.
Jenner,
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
Been granted. Wasn't that easy?
Yeah.
Now he gets his man face.
You better thank us. Okay, open public hearing for case ZB 2016-04, Kurt and Sandy Whittington.
So moved. We need to open it.
Yeah.
Did we-
What happened?
Oh,
You have to, yes. Second.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Who opened it?
oh, it's already been.
Yeah, we're open.
Oh, I was reading, sorry.
Kurt and Sandy Whittington, WHITTINGTON, 11 Ridge Drive West, Council Bluffs. What we're asking for, we'd like to add an 8 by 25 foot addition to our single car garage to turn it into a 2-car garage. We have a strange looking lot. Hopefully you've all seen the pictures, but it's like everybody else's lot up there. The house doesn't sit square with the lot, it sits square with the road. The county would allow us, I believe, 6 point some odd feet on that front corner, and it would allow us the 8 foot in the back because of the way that the lot gets wider as it goes back. The lot does slope off considerably behind this garage, or we would just consider putting up something back there. You can see by the little hand drawing that it is 1.25 inches per foot with about a 10% slope. It's pretty quick back there, and plus our septic is back there also. Now, what we do have to that line is 19.9 feet in the front, 21.5 in the back. That 8 foot addition would allow us then to obviously be able to put my pickup in the garage. This house was built in the 60s, so it's a 50-year-old house, a 50-year-old addition. Quite common for houses in the 60s only have a 1-car garage, but this day and age, the cars are a little smaller, but the pickups are still the same size, so. We've lost one vehicle, or I'm sorry, one car, one pickup in hail. This is basically the third pickup. We'd like to quit, you know, having that, having that issue. And, I guess for the most part, to make it simple, we're looking at, the width of 2 sheets of paper as the variance that we need to allow a full 8-foot to be added to that garage.
So it would be added right there where the pad is already poured?
Yes,
It'd be
and
sitting right there.
and the pad is actually 12 foot wide, so you're just even only a little bit more than half of what the pad is there now. And I have, verbal support from the neighbor across the street, the neighbors down the street, all right next to us. And I have written support from the neighbor on that side that it would impact.
Would you like to present that?
Absolutely.
So have most of your neighbors already expanded their houses to a double-car garage?
Yes,
then?
there's only 2 houses in that whole neighborhood with a single-car garage. One 2 doors up, which the house is identical to ours, and Mars. Otherwise, the rest of them, and they're probably 2 of the older houses there. The rest of them were all story and a half.
Built by John Ross.
And, yes, and sadly, he didn't build ours.
Are you hoarding that, Tim?
I'm gonna read it when you,
Oh.
for support. So your variance is,
Minimum.
Not much.
well, when I first looked
Yeah,
at that, I didn't.
1.36 feet, 16 inches, 2 sheets of paper wide. And it's just in that front because of the irregular shape of the lot. It gets wider in the back. We've got plenty of room.
Okay.
If it was square like the back, we wouldn't even be getting this chance to visit with you, so.
Okay, thank you. Now I'll read a letter of support. I, Roberta Pipper, number 9 Ridge Drive West, has discussed the proposed variance with Kurt and Sandy Winnington at 11 Ridge Drive West, and have no issues at all with what we'd like to do. Respectfully yours, Roberta Pipper. We'll add that to the thing. What do you want to add? I'll ask you. Anybody opposed?
Very close. You want me?
Do you have a recommendation, Matt?
The recommendation of the planning department is to approve the application based on the following findings of fact. The property is a legal non-conforming lot of record in a subdivision that was platted in the 1960s. As changes in the state code, it has become more important to preserve as much green space as possible. By attaching the garage space, it keeps the area in the rear of the property open for septic system replacements. 11.9 feet setback meets the fire code requirements, a 10-foot separation of buildings, and allows light and air to adjacent properties. It is not foreseen to diminish the value of the land and the buildings in the county. It is not foreseen to increase the congestion of traffic on the roads on the public roads. It will not otherwise impair public health, safety, general welfare, and the happiness of the county.
Okay,
I'll move to close.
there's a second to close public hearing. Move to second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carried. Discussion. If not, ask for a motion.
Make a motion, we approve the conditional use permit
Second.
based on the findings of staff as we finish.
Are you done now?
Yes, I am.
Is there a second? Been moved and second, roll call vote. Matt?
Pierce?
Yes.
Wickman?
Sure.
White?
Yes,
Herder?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
it has been granted. Any other business tonight, Matt?
No other business, Mr. Chairman.
I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Move to second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All the same? Motion carried. Adjourned.
Let's take a look at overtime.
I have a question for you two people.